Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alexis. I am an adaptive powerlifter from Pennsylvania, and I want to give an in-depth review of some of the top name brands in powerlifting singlets, because when I was first shopping for my first singlet, the market is pretty male dominant, but not from a woman's perspective. I have a type A personality and I want to see, what is the fabric like? Is the fabric dense? Is it thick thigh friendly? If you have a larger bust, where will the neckline fit? What is the inseam length? Is it unisex just because it is a double crotch gusset? Or does the women's powerlifting singlet really fit differently and was designed differently than the men's? Is it squat proof? All of these things. So I want to go over all of those features today. I am reviewing powerlifting singlets from Inzer, A7, SBD, Virus, and I have a cheaper alternative for a powerlifting singlet that I will show more towards the end of the video. Some terminology really. The first thing is the material of your powerlifting singlet cannot be compressive or supportive unless you are in like a 50 and up age group division, because in a powerlifting open it's just forbidden. You have to have a regular fitting singlet that cannot really like support you. Also, there is differences in the materials for singlets that you choose. If you Google or even look on Amazon powerlifting singlets, a lot of wrestling singlets will come up. The difference between a wrestling singlet and a powerlifting singlet is that the Olympic weightlifting singlet and the wrestling ones are typically made of higher percentage of spandex, and they have a really shiny, smooth, super stretchy feel to them. Whereas powerlifting singlets, all of them will be a matte finish. And the reason for that is when you are performing the bench press, you don't want to slide on the bench, right? You want a matte material that will hopefully just stick into the bench. And lastly, in a powerlifting competition, men and women are not permitted to just wear their powerlifting singlet for the squat and bench press. Typically, you do want to wear a shirt underneath for squat and bench press, but for deadlift, women are allowed to wear their sports bras and their powerlifting singlets, and guys are able to just wear their powerlifting singlets. For women, I highly suggest wearing a crop top t-shirt underneath your powerlifting singlet. It just makes it more comfortable and not annoying to adjust the bottom part of your shirt, you know, while you're wearing your singlet. Like, I run to the bathroom a lot during my competition, so to tuck in my shirt and make sure it's in the right position, I don't want to mess with that. So a form-fitting crop top t-shirt would be best. My measurements are listed below in detail. I simply just want to provide the ladies with more in-depth powerlifting singlet reviews. So let's get into it. First up, we have kind of a classic powerlifting style singlet, Inzer Advanced Design. This is priced at $37 on their website, and it does only come in the color blue. It is fairly stretchy, but not compressive, so it won't like suck you in or really be supportive to you. I think this material is fairly lightweight. It wasn't disclosed on the website what that composition was made out of. I would say it has a lot less elastane or spandex in the material. You can see kind of what that fabric looks like. I'm going to shine a light underneath this fabric, that way you can get a better idea of what it looks like. This singlet does not have any side panel. It is simply a front and back combined. This lining around the edges of the singlet, it is made out of a different material that feels cotton-like, and on the inside the material is stitched together to the singlet with this really enforced kind of robust stitching, and it's not soft. The bottom of the singlet has almost this like a Letterman jacket, that kind of lining, very stretchy, and again on the inside it's kind of robust, not soft stitching. The back of the singlet, it's plain. It has a double crotch gusset. Sizing for a singlet is kind of vague. The sizing goes by your body weight and it gives a range. So for the size large, I believe it was 150 to 190 pounds. However, I could look completely different from another person who weighs 180 pounds. So I do want to give you guys some more specific measurements. The front part of the singlet, it is about 21 inches, 53.5 centimeter. Mid-waist, 17 inches, or 44 centimeters. The inseam is about 5 inches, about 13 centimeters. And then the bottom of the pant leg, 7.5 inches, or 19 centimeters. But fully stretched out, you're looking at about 13.5 inches, roughly 34 centimeters. Generally, I want to measure from the top down to the center of the neckline, about 8.5 inches or about 22 centimeters. The opening for the arm is roughly 13 inches, 33 from the top of the back, 23 inches, 58.5 centimeters. So the whole side of the singlet measures in at about 20.5 inches or roughly 52 centimeters. I do want to show putting this singlet on. That way you guys can kind of see how stretchy the neckline is. And again, for my ladies, I would highly recommend to wear a crop top shirt. Comfortable overall. The neckline is pretty steep. I don't really think that this singlet is like tall people friendly. For us ladies, I don't really think that this singlet is very like flattering on us. The side profile, if I go like this, you can see that the fabric doesn't really like conform to your body shape. It is a little bit stretchy and it doesn't cling to you, if that makes sense. Around the lats, the opening for the arms is really big from the back. Just because something might say 6-inch inseam, that doesn't necessarily mean that the pant leg is going to be 6 inches of coverage below your glutes. So this does come up just a little bit higher underneath my glutes. That kind of like Letterman jacket, stretchy material. It is really cute, but it's not comfortable. And that stitching, and it doesn't, sit nice and smooth. I am going to do a squat test just to kind of see how much that these move. And as you might be able to see, these did roll up and they definitely did not stay in place. Let's discuss underwear. I'm going to perform a squat test with black colored underwear, and that's really going to show you the contrast between my fair skin, and you're really going to be able to see it under any material that is sheer. I am very fair skinned, so I can get away with like faint beige color or a faint tan color, and if I wear that, it's going to match my skin tone and you're not going to see it as much. It's the flip side for a darker skin toned lady. You want to wear skin toned pair of underwear, so like a darker brown. That way it'll match your skin tone and you won't see it underneath. I am wearing black underwear, and I just don't want to give you a squat test with a nude pair of underwear on that like is a nude thong, because I just don't think that that's a good representation of a squat proof test. So bear with me, you might see some underwear. So the length of your pant leg is important, because when you're performing a deadlift, you might snag on the fabric as you come up and don't want any more like resistance as you're pulling up, but that might not be something that you want to happen to you during your deadlift. So overall, I do want to rate this singlet a 7 out of 10. The sizing, I don't think it's really tall people friendly. It is just not as cleany and high quality performance as I would prefer. Neckline is just a little bit too low. Again, if you are a larger busted woman, this would come down even further. From the side profile, I don't think it's attractive. The pant leg liners are just not comfortable. They roll up. For the price point, I do think as a first singlet, this is not a bad option. It's just maybe not the best quality powerlifting singlet that is out there. Next up, we have the A7 unisex singlet. This is IPF and USAPL approved. This singlet is $76 on the website, and it comes in a variety of different colors, not only for the singlet front and back, but also in the side panels. This is a size medium. It is a little bit more heavy or dense fabric than the Inzer. It is a lot softer than the Inzer singlet, and it is made of polyester and spandex. And this is what the fabric looks like up close. This is a lot stretchier than the Inzer singlet, and you can see when it's stretched out, it is a little bit more sheer. The material on the side panel feels thinner than the material on the front and back panel, a lot more stretchy. And to shine a light through, so that way you can kind of see what that fabric is like. Again, the fabric is not supportive or compressive. It is supposed to be odor resistant. You can see that the neckline is the same fabric as the rest of the singlet, and the stitching on the inside feels a lot smoother and is not as robust as the Inzer singlet. It does stretch with the material, and it does seem to hold up pretty well. The stitching that combines the front to the side panels, that same stitch detail, but it feels very smooth. And on the bottom of the pant leg, this fabric is folded under. There is an elastic band to allow this to be very stretchy, again with that silicone band sewn in so that it will hold in place. And then the stitching is robust, so it stays in place while still being stretchy, but this is not soft to the touch. Double crotch gusset, so rather than one seam here, it has two, and then the side panel kind of opens up towards the center or your hip area and then tapers off into a smaller portion towards your legs. The back of the singlet, it is just nice and simple, a wide racer back design. Bottom of the rear, there is no like loop stitching or anything. The front, about 52.5 centimeters. Mid-waist, 15.5 inches, 39 centimeters. And on the side panel, 20 inches, 50.5 or 51 centimeters. And then the back panel at about 27 inches, 68.5 centimeters. About 9 inches, 23 centimeters. And the inseam length, 5 inches, 13 or 12.5 centimeters. Neckline, 8.5 inches of an opening, about 21 centimeters roughly. And the opening for your arms, 12 inches or 30 centimeters. And then you can see here that the Inzer has a little bit of a longer opening. There is an extra piece of fabric sewn into the strap, so it connects the back and the front of the singlet. Again, just to illustrate to you guys how easy or difficult a singlet might be to put on. This A7 singlet is a lot stretchier than the Inzer singlet. It is more of a clingy fit. So here it is from the side profile. You can see that it kind of hugs my curves. From the front, I feel like for my ladies, it is just fine. And then the neckline, it hits in a decent place. And if you want, you can just pull it up a little bit in the front. Here is the side profile. I really like that. And I feel like it might be easier for people to indicate whether or not you hit squat depth. So that may be a good or a bad thing for you. Those side panels are a little bit wider at the mid-waist. I think that kind of gives you an hourglass shape illusion. Not that that really matters for us ladies, but that is like a nice little feature. From the back, it is a little bit longer and it does have a little bit more coverage underneath your glutes. And because it does have that built-in silicone no-slip grip coating on the inside, and as you can see, the thighs did not move out of place. I think that the opening for the side, it's not like too wide, like the Inzer was like way down here. I do think this is not really thick thigh friendly. I would prefer for the inlet for the pant legs to be a little bit bigger. I don't know if you guys can see it too much, but it's definitely digging into my thighs, and in the back, it's digging into my thighs and just kind of not as flattering as I wish it could be. But just to give you guys a better idea of what the fabric composition is like, maybe how sheer and stretchy it is. So overall, this is not as squat proof as the Inzer singlet, but nude underwear. That way you don't see the contrast of black underwear against your fair skin, if that makes sense. Again, when you are dealing with longer length inseam, you might have an issue with the bar kind of snagging and resisting onto the fabric as you pull it up. Because of the grip coating, I think that the pant legs really stay in place. Overall, I do prefer the A7 singlet over the Inzer singlet because the overall fit and feel is just a little bit more well thought out and maybe higher quality. 9 out of 10. I wish that it wasn't as sheer. Secondly, I just wish that it had more room in the thighs. Next up, we have the SBD Singlet. It is made of double jersey fabric, and it is manufactured with Merrill and Lycra fibers to stay really soft and breathable. It is $100 on the SBD website, and it is International Weightlifting Federation, USAPL, USPA, and IPF approved. It is really soft. This does have a matte finish. It is pretty stretchy in all directions. I don't think it's as stretchy as the A7 singlet. I do think this is the most dense fabric compared to the A7 and the Inzer singlet. And this material is pretty dense and very smooth to the touch. It is more smooth and dense compared to the A7 singlet and the Inzer singlet. I would say that the Inzer singlet is definitely the lightest out of all of these so far. And holding it up against the light, you can kind of get an idea of what that fabric is like. This side panel is made of a different material. It is much more stretchy compared to the front and back part. Comparing the A7 singlet to the SBD singlet, the SBD singlet, this strap that connects the front and the back is red to match the side panel. It does not have any elastic or any kind of grip material on the inside, and it does have that kind of robust stitching that will really hold us into place, but it seems like it only has so much give, like it doesn't stretch as much as the fabric does itself, and it is not smooth to the touch. The lining on the neckline and the arm openings is made of that same stretchy material as the side panel. This does stretch quite a bit and it seems pretty durable. Again, it's not stitched with smooth thread, so it does feel pretty like tough and robust. Compared to the Inzer, the A7, the crotch gusset of the SBD singlet is really wide. You can see that there. And unlike the A7 singlet that has a side panel that runs all the way down, the SBD singlet has a side panel that is colored and it stops probably about your hip height, and then it's black all the way down. On the back side, you have SBD Powerlifting, and that is it. This singlet is a size large and measurements. 20 inches, 51 centimeters, side panel, 22.5 inches, 57 centimeters roughly. The inseam length or the pant leg length is going to be about 5.5 inches. The bottom of the pant legs run about 9 inches, 23 centimeters. Of the back, 26 inches, 66 centimeters. The mid waist of about 15 inches, 38.5 centimeters roughly. Just going to go ahead and put this on like so to show you how easily it is to get this on. Right off the bat, the neckline was like not as easy to get on. The overall feel, it's definitely more thick, dense material. It feels like it's like a higher quality fabric and it clings to you pretty well. I think that the neckline is okay. The fabric is not as stretchy as the A7, so pulling this up, you know, might be a consistent battle for women who might have larger breasts. Similar to the A7 singlet, I like that the side panel just kind of curves towards your front, because then from the front side you can kind of just get a little peekaboo of the red color. That the fabric really conforms and clings to your body from the back, so nice and simple. There is just a little bit of coverage underneath my glutes. For my ladies, I think from the front, this singlet is actually like pretty flattering, so it's not really going to give too much of a camel toe moment. Moved up just a little bit. Those like pant legs just kind of like rolled up on me from wearing them a little bit longer and like during my squat. Because this is kind of a shorter length, again, when you're deadlifting, the pant legs fabric will probably catch onto the barbell, but so not really an issue there. Overall, I want to give this singlet the same score as I did with the A7 singlet because the thighs portions do move up just a tiny bit. I feel like the neckline, like if you are a larger busted woman or if you are a really tall person, the sizing really doesn't cater towards people who are very tall. So I feel like you would constantly kind of pull that up to adjust the front. I don't know, let me know in the comments if my tall friends have any, you know, issues with the SBD singlet. Those like pant legs just kind of like rolled up on me. You are no longer able to purchase a Virus singlet and have it shipped to the US as of October 2023. I was trying to look up some information on the internet, but I really couldn't find any like definite answer. So in 2021, I did purchase a women's Virus singlet, and I wasn't really impressed with the singlet and all of its features and the material and the stitching and how it fit. So I did still want to purchase this men's 2XL one from eBay so I could give you guys a more detailed review, and that way you can see all the intricacies of how the singlet is made. Virus singlet brand new will cost you $264 on the website. And this is known as a very high performance singlet, IPF approved, USAPL approved, and European everything approved. V for virus logo. It has virus on the side of a double crotch gusset. At the bottom of the pant leg, it has virus performance with their logo in a repeated pattern all throughout the bottom. That writing is written on top of an elastic band, and that elastic band will help hold you in place along with this spotted, if you will, silicone grip material, and it lays pretty thin. You can see that stitch pattern is different than the stitch pattern that we saw on the other singlets. It is robust. It doesn't feel smooth to the touch, but it stretches right along with that band. And again, this is used, so this is a little bit beat up, but looking at the neckline and the arm inlets for the singlet, this really simple in stitching. The inside of this like top seam for the neckline does have that white elastic band, which just adds more durability. This stitching is very reinforced. It is very strong. It is not soft to the touch. The arm opening, it has that same elastic band and stitch style. Looking at the side panel of this singlet, it's interesting to see that it is kind of curved and tapers all the way down into a smaller opening at the leg. And it does have these bioceramic or paint lines on the side, which kind of hit where your hips would be, the back of the singlet, that has more embellishment and more design than the other singlets. You have these 3 lines, you have a V cut into the top back of your neck, you have that virus logo, and then you have this interesting stitching that goes a rounded top and then tapers off wide and wide and wide and wide. On the other side panel, you have the virus company name, the 2 lines that hit at about your hip, and then you have reminders of all of the information that goes into the virus singlet. And I just think that that is a nice touch to the quality. From the top neckline all the way down to the crotch gusset is about 22 inches, 56 centimeters. At the width across, 17.5 inches, 44 centimeters. From the side, 24 inches, 61 centimeters. The width of the pant leg, about 9 inches, 23 centimeters. So the pant leg length, about 9 inches, about 23 centimeters. The back of the neck of the singlet all the way to the crotch gusset, about 25 inches, 63.5 or 64 centimeters roughly. Opening for the arms, 16 inches, 41 centimeters roughly. Put this on like so. I definitely see why there was like breakage in the seams from the last owner, because it's very tight to get through the neckline. However, it is really stretchy. This is a double XL. A men's double XL. So I'm a little surprised it's not as baggy on me as I thought it was going to be. Even when I had my women's size large virus singlet 2 years ago, when I was trying them out, I thought that the size large was really tight on me. So I think that this may not be true to size if you have my curvier body type, but if you have a more lean body type, it might be more true to size to you. The women's singlet, they were a shorter length. There was a stitched seam that ran across the mid thigh, and it just wasn't flattering. That extra stitching here and this stitching on the side really dug into my thick thighs, and it just wasn't comfortable, and that was the non-selling point for me. I remember for the women's was pretty much like mid-thigh length. That non-slip grip coating is pretty good. The material itself does cling to form your body. Again, I'm really surprised that this is a men's 2XL. It has the 2 stripes that kind of hit right where your hip line is, so if you're squatting, the judge is going to be able to see if you reached depth or not. Looking at the front, again, it is really large on me, but I do think that if I had one that fit for my ladies, I do think that it is going to be flattering in the front. From the back, again, it's pretty long, and just to kind of make this more of a realistic like fit and test, I'm going to pull this singlet up and then hold it and then squat in it to see if the pant legs move. They don't move out of place because that non-slip grip coating. It is a little bit larger on me, so doing the squat test may not be as accurate as if I had my true size, so the fabric is not going to stretch out as much, but I still want to give you guys an idea of what the composition of the fabric is like. How how sheer this fabric isn't really a turnoff for me, because again, you can always wear a pair of underwear that is more like closely resemblant to your skin tone. Again, with the longer length, you're going to snag and brush the bar all the way up on your singlet. So the length of this is really based on your preference. Overall, I give the Virus Singlet a 7.5 out of 10 because number one, the price point is just really expensive for a singlet. You know, $264. It better be the best material possible. Even on the women's size large that I got a couple years ago, the neckline was kind of tight to get in and out of. It wasn't thick thigh friendly. The stitching in the seams that ran across the mid thighs, non-slip grip coating, wasn't thick thigh friendly. The material is nice, but the overall design, the fit, I just didn't think it was worth $264. I don't want to, you know, deter your decision, but hopefully clarify if the Virus Singlet is for you. Again, you cannot purchase and have shipped to you into the United States anymore, but if you are able to find a used Virus Singlet like I did on eBay or something, maybe that's an option. I have the Iron Rebel Singlet in the size large. I was pleasantly surprised when I felt the fabric and looked at all of the details. It is priced at $69. However, I did get it on sale for $52. USAPL and USPA approved, but it is not International Powerlifting Federation approved. A soft matte finish to it, and it is made of polyamide and spandex, so it's pretty stretchy in all directions. I would say it is about as stretchy as the A7, but feels as dense as the SBD Singlet. It's advertised as odor resistant. I feel like this fabric is more tightly woven than the SBD Singlet. You can kind of just see all of the woven threads and how like tightly bound it is. The material on the side panel is very sheer and it's a lot thinner, a light through the fabric, the material and how dense the material is compared to the side panel, which is very see-through. On the bottom front pant leg, you have the Iron Rebel name, and you do have this elastic band. And then on the inside of that pant leg, that elastic band is coated with a silicone material, which will hold you in place. Looking at the stitching, all of the singlets have this kind of robust, hard or super durable thread stitching. The neckline and the arm inlets, that lining is made of the same material as the front and back panel of the singlet, and it is really stretchy. Inside stitching, thick, reinforced with that kind of rough feeling thread, but it does stretch with the material. Side panel of the singlet widens towards the hips and then tapers off towards the bottom of the pant legs. The back of the singlet says greatness is earned. It doesn't have any additional, stitch details, a double crotch gusset. The Iron Rebel Singlet is pretty lightweight. It's about the same weight as the Inzer Singlet. But looking at the two fabrics side by side, the Inzer fabric is kind of loosely woven. The neckline, 8.5 inches, 21.5 centimeters. The length, about 19.5 inches, 49.5 centimeters. The width, 16.5 inches, 42 centimeters. The length at the side, 20 inches, 50.5 centimeters. The back, about 25.5 inches, 65.5 centimeters. The pant leg, 9 inches, 23.5 centimeters. Length of the inseam is about 9 inches. So the length of the pant leg is going to be about 4.5 inches. And I'm going to, again, illustrate to you how easy this is to get on. So this is not as stretchy as the A7 singlet, but it still was easy to get on, so it wasn't as difficult as the Virus Singlet. For my ladies, I don't really think it's very flattering in the front. Here is the side profile, so the arm opening doesn't swoop down just a tiny bit. This fabric doesn't really cling to your body type. Push it down a little bit. I also don't think that this is very tall people friendly. Fabric on the side panel is very stretchy. The neckline, where it sits, I don't think you'll have to really situate yourself if you are a larger busted woman. Non-slip grip coating and the sizing for the bottom band of the pant legs is just not comfortable. This is not really thick thigh friendly. It's really digging into the back of my thighs. And here it is from the side profile. Again, just really digging into my because it has short inseam length and it has that non-slip grip coating. It doesn't really catch on the fabric, snaps back into place. Overall, I would rank this singlet the longer I wear this Iron Rebel singlet, the less I like it, because I thought that the pant leg or the bottom seam of the thigh would stretch out a little bit, but because of that elastic band and the silicone coating, it does not stretch very much, and it's just really uncomfortable. So I don't think it's thick thigh friendly. However, again, if you do have more of a lean body type, this could be a better fit for you. Thank you guys so much for watching my review video. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you. If you thought this review was helpful, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and maybe even leave a positive comment below, because kindness is free and I appreciate y'all's support for this video. If you have any questions, also leave a comment below, and I hope I helped my lady powerlifters out there find and maybe make a decisive decision on the powerlifting singlet that they had in mind to purchase. So see you guys next time.